Guy Tripp, April 22, 1865 to June 14, 1927, was an American business executive and an officer in the United States Army. A longtime manager and executive for several companies, he served as chairman of the Westinghouse Electric Corporation Board of Directors from 1912 until his death. Tripp was also a director of more than 20 other companies, including several Westinghouse subsidiaries. In 1917, Tripp's expertise in business and manufacturing led to his appointment as a major in the United States Army. Assigned as an assistant to the Army's Chief of Ordnance, he was promoted to Brigadier General in 1918. At the end of the war, Tripp received the Army Distinguished Service Medal in recognition of his efforts to convert America's production capacity to wartime material. Tripp died in New York City following complications after intestinal surgery. He was buried at Old Tennant Churchyard in Tennant, New Jersey. Guy Eastman Tripp was born in Wells, Maine on April 22, 1865, a son of Alonzo R. Tripp and Abby Yeaton Tripp. He was educated in the schools of York County, and in 1882 he graduated from Barrack Academy in South Barrack, Maine. After graduating, Tripp moved to Massachusetts to accept a position as a clerk with the Eastern Railroad, a position he held until 1890. Tripp left the Eastern Railroad to become a clerk with the Thomson-Houston Electric Company during the company's installation of a trolley system which replaced the city's horse-drawn streetcars. When Thomson-Houston and the Edison Electric Company combined to create General Electric, GE, Tripp joined GE as a traveling auditor. In 1895, he became an auditor for the Industrial Improvement Company, which operated electric street railways in several northeastern cities, including Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Haverhill, Lawrence, and Brockton, Massachusetts. In 1897, Tripp joined the Stone and Webster electrical engineering firm, which operated urban railways in several U.S. cities, including Seattle, Dallas, and Houston. Initially employed as a district manager, Tripp advanced through the company's ranks to become its president. In 1908, financial mismanagement of New York City's Metropolitan Street Railway system led to creation of the Joint Committee on Reorganization, which was empowered to solve the company's problems and restore it to profitability. Tripp was hired as the Commission's technical expert, and was soon appointed chairman of the Commission. After the Joint Commission's work was complete in 1912, Tripp was appointed chairman of the board for the Westinghouse Electric Corporation, a position he held until his death. In addition to his work for Westinghouse Electric, Tripp was elected to the boards of directors of more than 20 other corporations, including several Westinghouse subsidiaries. A partial list includes Westinghouse Lamp Company, Westinghouse, Church and Kerr Company, New York Railways Company, RCA, Chase National Bank, and the American Sugar Refining Company. With the War Department desiring to make use of Tripp's business and manufacturing expertise during World War I, in 1917 he was commissioned as a major in the United States Army. He was then appointed as chief of the Army's Ordnance Production Division. In 1918, Tripp was promoted to Brigadier General and assigned as assistant to the Army's Chief of Ordnance. Tripp served until the end of the war in November 1918. In recognition of the technical expertise he provided during the Army's effort to convert America's manufacturing capacity to the production of wartime material, at the end of the war Tripp received the Army Distinguished Service Medal, which was presented by President Woodrow Wilson. After leaving the Army, Tripp returned to his business career, but continued to provide unofficial advice and guidance to the War Department. Tripp was later inducted into the Ordnance Corps Association's Hall of Fame. Tripp continued to serve as chairman of the board at Westinghouse and as a board member for several other corporations. In 1923 and 1924, Tripp toured the world on a goodwill mission to enhance the development and growth of Westinghouse's international subsidiaries. He was favorably received, and received awards and recognition from several foreign governments, including Japan's Order of the Sacred Treasure, second class. In 1924, he received the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws from Maine's Bates College. In addition to his career as a business executive, Tripp also authored several books and professional journal articles. His published works include Superpower as an Aid to Progress, 1924, and Electric Development as an Aid to Agriculture, 1926. In June 1927, Tripp underwent intestinal surgery at a New York City hospital. He developed post-surgical complications, which proved to be fatal. He died in New York City on June 14, 1927. Tripp's funeral was held at the Unitarian Church of All Souls in Manhattan. His honorary pallbearers included Charles M. Schwab, Nicholas Frederick Brady, George B. Cortelyou, and Major General Clarence C. Williams. Tripp was buried at Old Tenant Cemetery in Manalapan Township, New Jersey. In 1887, Tripp married Mary Elaine O'Connell of Salem, Massachusetts. She was usually known as Elaine, and they were the parents of daughters Mary, Olive, and Ada. Mary Tripp was the wife of Clifford Hemphill of New York, Olive the wife of Nelson Gatch of St. Louis, and Ada was the wife of first Gordon Fisher and then Arthur D. Forst of Trenton, New Jersey. Davis, Henry Blaine Jr., 1998. Generals in Khaki. Raleigh, North Carolina, Penland Press. p. 363-364. ISBN 978-1-5719-7088-6, via Google Books. Elliott, Samuel Atkins, ed. 1914, Biographical History of Massachusetts. 5, Boston, Massachusetts, Massachusetts Biographical Society. Pages 86-87, via Google Books. Business leaders mourn Guy E. Tripp. Brooklyn Daily Times. Brooklyn, New York. June 18, 1927. p. 13, via newspapers.com. Brigadier General Guy E. Tripp. Ordnance Corps Association Hall of Fame. F.T. Lee, V.A., U.S. Army Ordnance Corps Association. Retrieved June 19, 2020.